videos we're going to be looking at walking bass lines, and we're going to be looking at walking bass lines in the broad context of not just jazz or blues, but in the world of pop as well, because there have been many examples of walking bass lines in that particular genre. So what we're going to do today is just look at a very simple 12-bar blues, and we're going to look at the major version of that, the minor version, and something in between. So stay tuned to see what I mean by something in between. First of all, what do we mean by walking blues? What is walking? Well, the general idea really is to connect chords. In doing so, and using a straightforward quarter note or crotchet rhythm, what we're doing is drawing the listener from one chord to the next, either in a stepwise fashion or sometimes making jumps or leaps. It certainly lives up to its name in that respect. Let me give you an example of that by playing our first example, which is an A major walking bass line in 12-bar blues. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what's going on here? Well, first of all, the chords that we're covering in our 12 blues are chord 1, and if we go up the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's our fourth note, and underneath that, or should I say above that, we have chord 4, built on the fourth note of the scale, and then we go up to chord 5, which is built from the fifth note of the scale. So if you know your intervals, it's basically 1, upper fourth, upper fifth, back to 4, 1. Our first 4 bars are in A, the next 2 bars are in D, back to A, up to E, D, 2 bars, back to A, 2 bars. That's our 12-bar structure. I'm going to play this one more time, and then I'm going to play it in a slightly different way with different fingering. Here we go. I'll take you through the chords as we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's chord 1. Up to chord 4. Back to chord 1. Chord 5. Chord 4. Back to 1. I'm using Simandl technique, which is a double bass technique. It's a more relaxed way of getting around the neck. You can, of course, stretch one finger per fret. All Simandl does is just relax the hand, so you've roughly got a tone in between fingers 1 and 4. And I'm just shifting to the note as opposed to stretching. It's a little bit more relaxed, that's all. So that's really one aspect of fingering. Another aspect of fingering we can use, which works very well with Simandl technique, is starting on finger 1. By the way, I'm using triads. Triads basically mean a 3-note chord, 1, 3 and 5. So we're using the root, the major third, which gives us our major minor tonality. It's always the third. In this case it's a major third, so it's a major triad, and we're going up to the fifth. Now if you start on your first finger on 1, you can pick up the third note here on the same string. There's 3 and there's interval 5. 1, 3, 5. So if I keep that hand position all the way through, we'll end up with the same sounding blues but in a different position. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chord 5, chord 4, back to 1. Let's look at a minor shape. Now, a minor triad is exactly the same as a major triad apart from the major third is flattened. Minor minor third, same kind of fifth, perfect fifth. And that shape's going to be the same for each chord, 1, 4, 5. So now we have a minor blues, a minor 12-bar blues. That's going to sound a little bit darker than our major blues. 2, 3, 4. Now the good thing about patterns like this is that we can take them all over the neck. Later on I'll be looking at ways of using open strings, skips and embellishments, but for right now we're keeping it nice and simple so you can apply this to any single key around the neck. I mentioned something that's going to be in between major and minor. Right, what do I mean by that? Sometimes referred to as a blue note and sometimes thought of as tonal ambiguity. It's not really major, it's not really minor, it's kind of half and half. How we get this effect is by playing both the major and the minor third. So I'm hitting the minor third there and the major third. So it's not really major, it's not really minor, but some people say because I'm accenting the third, it's more kind of major. This is what it sounds like. 2, 3, 4. Chord 4. Chord 1. 5, 4, 1. Just as a kind of bonus, if we double the speed of our walking and put in eighth notes in its place, we end up with a rock and roll walking bass line, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there we go. I hope you found that useful and I hope you enjoyed this little example of very basic walking patterns. If you have enjoyed this, please hit the like button. If you've really enjoyed this, then please do subscribe. And if you've really enjoyed this video, please consider Patreon and some of the extra benefits that would bring as well. My name's Pete. This is The Infinite Bass. See you next time.